Welcome to Truck Tank.
There you go. What's up, guys? It's Shaggy and Frank, man, and it's Tuesday. I can't tell anymore, dude. I just went to sleep last night. It's Tuesday. My bad. It's Tuesday at the Shaggy's Consulting and Training Group, and as always, it's me and Frank. We're coming on live. Hey, I want to thank everybody for joining in, and if you like the show, please go down and like it and go and join the group. We have two of them. You can join Shaggy's Consulting and Training. What's the name of G3
Services Group? All day, every day.
G3 Services Group. You know, this week we never really do sponsors and stuff like that, but this week we're going to do a sponsor. You know, I'm going to let Frank talk about it here real quick, what they got going on down in Kentucky. And you guys seen a post in our Facebook group because we get so many requests that people want older E-Log trucks. They want this truck. They want a special truck. They don't like the trucks that are out there. I like to have my own truck. And it's amazing because we have a bunch of people in the group that have already purchased trucks from our sponsor day, G3 Services and Frank, and down there where they're allowing you to pick what kind of truck you want. You know, you're going to be able to. I'm gonna let Frank talk about it. Go ahead, Frank, real quick.
Yeah, you're talking about the people that want the pre-ELD. We got them. We can do them. We can build them. You know, Freightliners, Peterbilts. We mainly stick to Freightliners, but we can do whatever you want to do. You know, that's a fun part of the job for us because you know it gets
your dad. He loves that stuff. Like he grew up, like he crawls out of the freaking motors and stuff like that. It's like he's a
yeah, he is 100% motorhead. Yeah. And the reason we like this part of it so much is because it allows our customers and it allows us to capture that creativity.
Oh yeah,
I mean, this is your dream. This is your dream.
Yeah, but look at Sonny. They got their authority. They had the drivers. They went and built those trucks. They picked the seats, the specs and stuff. And they still got what they want. And they're only spending $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on a truck that's their way, rebuilt, brand, you know, new miles. They know the truck. They get to learn everything about it. It's huge. And they're lining up, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. You know, so it's a lot of fun for us. You know, we build affordable, dependable trucks. I mean, it's a lot of fun. We love doing that. The guys in the shop get a kick out of tinkering with the motors and, you know, getting that pre-ELD setup going. And it's just, you know, it's just a lot of fun. You know, you have basically a brand new truck, you know, for the price of, you know, for 60% of normal price. It's just, you know, it's really cool. It's really cool what we can do.
Or double that.
Yeah, or you know.
I see a builder Freightliner. You know, you look at these new trucks. They're $180,000, $160,000, $120,000, $100,000. I mean, that's a lot of money starting out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you know what we do is we talk to our customers. You know, they tell us what they want to do. You know, this is why I always tell people. You know, we want to hear your story. We want to hear, you know, what you want to do. And we talk to them, we get that feedback. And, you know, one guy, you know, I want this, and I want it turned up, and I want this and that and that and this. And, you know, and it's a lot of fun. We can do this, we can do that. We collaborate with them. You know, we piece their dream together. And it's really cool. We have a lot of fun doing it, and they have a lot of fun working with us, designing their truck.
Bring these messages on here. All right, cool. That is too, and we get a lot of requests for it too. You know, not everybody has the finances to be able to go and do something like that. But you used to be surprised what you guys have. Do they help? Do they have connections on financing to help afford the trucks? Or are they all doing cash, or what are they doing?
We don't do a lot of financing on our end, just because, you know, we're so busy, we don't have time to go that route with it.
They have their own financing, they have their own cash. You guys have connections on the trucks, the parts, places to get them.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, look, you know, if they bought a truck from us and they were around us to get their labor done, you know, you go somewhere, anywhere, you're going to pay 130, 140, even more for labor per hour for labor. You know, our labor is nowhere near that if you need something done. So it's just, it's a good situation if you're trying to do it the right way, conserve money, and yet still have a dependable piece.
How would they get a hold of those guys to be able to do that?
Call me or call my dad. I'll put the number in.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Get the number in there. So Well, to get that out of the way, so that's going to be our sponsor for tonight. It's really, really cool. We're going to be today is going to be brokering. So for all the people that are joining on, everybody that we're working with, we're going to be. I'm reading his messages real quick.
Sure.
Try to figure out. Go ahead, talk, Frank. I'm trying to get my thing set up here.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah, we're both working and doing a show at the same time, guys. We never stop. You know, and when you're wanting to get into being a broker or starting up a brokerage, that's something that you've got to learn to accept and live with right off the bat, guys. You know, you're always going to be on the phone if you want to be successful at it. You're always going to be working. You're always going to be, hey, Jewel, I owe you a phone call. We're going to talk real soon. Jewel just signed on with us. And,
Hey, what's up, Jewel?
yeah, we're gonna do some good stuff. Jewel and I are gonna do some good stuff together. You know, so when you get in it, you know, just keep in mind it's not something you can make a quick buck at. You have to know your stuff. You have to know your market. You have to know your.
I think about
everything.
Well, you think about it. Every day, I keep getting more and more calls, like every day. And I go through Facebook. I'm calling customers. I don't know what to do. I'm calling customers. They're not doing it. I'm calling customers. All I do is get to the email list. I'm calling customers.
Sure.
Louisa McCrae says, hello, I want to start a brokerage. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with starting a brokerage. You know, it's the steps. You know, I always think when you're starting a brokerage, how can you start a brokerage and not understand trucks? Like here's the question to start today. Should you have trucks before you bid freight and search the customers, or should you have the customers who search you before you bid freight, or should you understand the customers, then understand the trucks, and then understand the trucks and what they need before you service the customers?
Well, let's tear that apart. Let's dissect that a little bit. That statement. Should you have trucks before you have freight? For someone who is completely coming in completely blind with little to no knowledge, let's dissect that one statement. Having trucks.
Well, that's okay. Because that's what we're going to do. We're going to break it down. You know,
let's break it down. So when you say have trucks, what do you mean? Do you mean have trucks with your company, or find trucks that you're going to broker freight to before you have the business?
So, well, when you go in, what we see happening right now across the board is everybody and their moms taking these schools. Everybody thinks they can do. Well, first, before we talk about the trucks, what is sales? Everybody says you have to be a salesperson. You have to know this. You have to know that. And you have to be the best talker in the world to be a salesperson. And I think about it every day. We were talking earlier. I sell every day. My wife sells me every day and don't even know it. She tells me to do this. She tells me to do that. She tells me I pick up the plate. She tells me to drop the toilet seat. She tells me not to do this. She tells me when I need that. She tells me I can't spend on my night. She tells the dogs to go outside. Is that selling?
That's more like dictating, but no. And if she dictates that, you better do it.
Yeah.
But right. Yeah, you know, there's things you gotta be done. Not every salesperson is the same. My dad will tell you, I will tell you, we're terrible salesmen. We really, truly are. We are, but we are salesmen. We are salesmen. We think we're terrible salesmen because, you know, when we get out there, we think that a salesman's someone that goes in there and throws out a pitch and a gimmick and, they're real carny about everything. We just go in and talk freight. We talk trucks. We talk needs. We sell them us. And if they like us, they'll give us freight.
So the point of it is, but how can you sell without trucks?
Well, you know, again, in what context do you mean trucks? Are you talking about physically owning assets?
I go get doesn't matter if I go get a customer, right? If I'm a new broker without no credit and I don't have no trucks, what am I going to do? I hear it all day long. If you haven't, so if I go search all the customers in the world, right? I have the best email list out there, and I call these customers, and I don't have no trucks. I have a list. I'm not saying what is trucks. Everybody's confused because they say you can't have, if you don't have freight, you can't get trucks. But if I don't have trucks, how do I get freight? If I don't know what trucks want to run, how will I be able to know what they need to move to service the customer? Well, if it's before credit score and no one wants to use me, do I need trucks more? Do I need the trucks more than I need the freight before I get the freight? Or if I'm after a credit score where it's already posted, you see a green check mark on DAT, do I need the trucks or can I use the boards?
It is my belief, to answer this question.
Mhm.
It is my belief that you don't go out and invest in inventory in any business, whether it be this industry or something else, before you have a customer. Okay, you don't go out and buy a truck before you got freight to haul. Now, if you've got access to freight to haul, great. But if you're in terms of buying the truck and having an asset-based part of your company, have freight to haul, then go buy your truck. And freight to haul doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a direct to shipper relationship. It just means that you've got to have access to some kind of paying freight. That's what that means.
Right, but we still come to the same problem, though, is if I go and make hundreds of calls and if the customers all day long tell me I have trucks, I don't have no trucks. I've been calling and calling these customers, and every one of them tells me I have to have trucks. I just don't get it. Why do I have to have trucks?
Now, see, we say that now on this show, but and please excuse me, I don't want to give away your seminar stuff, but your boot camp, but they'll learn in one of your classes that part of this business, and that is the transactional part of you. You don't necessarily have a truck lined up, but if you have a customer that gives you freight and you put it out there and you're going to transactionally broker that, number one, your margin is going to probably be the highest on that.
But what about the risk?
What about the risk? Are you talking about the dedicated and semi-dedicated?
No, I'm talking about the transactional where you're doing the highest risk on the boards, trying to find random carriers to pull your freight where the risk is high that they might fall off, like what happened to you the other day.
It happens to me all the time. It happens to everybody all the time. That's a part of it. That that has always been.
But no, you don't have the trucks. You don't have the trucks, and the trucks that you have relationships with. We're not getting there yet, but the trucks.
Right.
Trucks. If you don't have the trucks and you're using the load board, where's your ammunition? Where's your?
You gotta have both. You gotta have both pieces of the puzzle.
But I have those pieces because I ain't sold nobody or nothing. All I did is put a broker packet thing on a bunch of Facebook groups that had a whole bunch of dummies send me emails, links so I could send them packets out all day long. But if I have 300 packets that were carriers have signed up with me, do I still have trucks or do I have packets?
No, because those 300 packets that you have on your desk collectively aren't worth a dime if you don't know what kind of truck you need and how to service your customer.
Get on Facebook everywhere we go and all these freight brokers and carriers, freight broker workers, freight brokers, dispatch brokers, and all this stuff. I was just sitting there last night at 1 a.m. looking at all the comments where I'm calling and I'm calling and I'm calling. Why would I post a load that's not a good lane and no one responds? I mean, all this stuff. Doesn't it go back to trucks?
Yeah, it goes back to trucks. I mean, if you think it's a good lane and you post it and you aren't getting any calls, is it such a good lane?
I don't know. Is it because it's your credit or is it your lanes or you have no trucks that committed to haul that lane for you before you sold the customer?
If there's no available transactional trucks in that lane, then yeah, you should have gone out and gotten your trucks to service your customer.
But I shouldn't just go make more phone calls? Of saying, hi, I'm Shaggy with Shaggy's Logistics. I'd like to haul your freight. Can I get a hold of your shipping or receiving department, please?
Yeah, you have to do all. You have to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. Or it's not going to work. You can't just focus. You can't do one thing. You can't just do one thing and expect everything else just to fall into line.
When I paid for my broker class, Frank, when I paid for my broker class, they showed me about my LLC. They showed me about the bond. They told me I need it or I don't need contingency cargo. If the customer doesn't want it, hell, you don't have to go get it. There's no liability or risk in it. You know what I mean? And then you go ahead. I know you want to jump in.
No, look, listen, those classes are okay. Not every school's bad, guys. Not every school's going to rip
talking about what I hear, we hear on a daily basis.
Yes, you need to know those things.
This morning, well, okay, not 10, I lied. I talked to 4 people this morning. The cheapest one I talked to paid $1,000 for.
Yeah, but I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So those classes are good knowledge, and honest to goodness, I'm going to go ahead and do a plug here for Shaggy's class. But that's where you want to start and go get set up if you're starting from nothing. Okay. But do those classes teach you when to post your freight, when to accept your freight from a customer, what time of the day is best to get your freight moved, what time of the day is best to find trucks? What time do they teach you how to structure your operation? My school does.
Never drove a truck. I'm just a guy that went to the thing and want to be a broker because it sounds like the greatest thing in the world.
I mean, brokering's great and trucking's great and all that, but you look, I'm just gonna say it. Yes, you do need to have some knowledge of the trucking game, but when you're in the brokerage business, 75% of it, you're not in the trucking business. You're in the moving freight business.
Well,
So what?
Without understanding trucks, though, I keep talking to these people all the time. They can't tell me what binders and straps and insulated trailers and metal roofs, plate trailers, wooden floors, risers, and all that stuff.
You have to have a basic knowledge of trucks. You really need an extended knowledge of trucks, but you have to at least have a basic knowledge of trucks. Otherwise, how in the hell are you going to service your customer if you don't know what kind of truck they need? Because every truck's not the same, guys. Every truck, one truck could weigh 10,000 pounds more than another, 2,000, 3,000, with or without fuel, this and that and this. And if you've got a customer that ships heavy freight like I do, that kind of thing matters. How much does your truck weigh with or without fuel? Because this load weighs this. And if you can't scale it, you can't haul it. Then you're screwed. I'm screwed. My customer's screwed.
Well, you just knocked yourself out of 60% of your carriers right there on the word heavy. And I know how heavy your freight is. So now, but doesn't matter. It pays good, but it is heavy, right?
But it's heavy. Yeah, sure.
So, but not everybody wants to do that.
No, and they don't care what it pays. If it's heavy, they don't want to haul it. So, it does pay well. You can make a good living doing it if you do it right.
I want to address this right here. This is what I like. This is what I hear every day. I'm a driver, and I understand that driver's side. So what are you, a driver? You drove a truck for somebody for 4 or 5 years. You just left company driver school a while back. You've owned a truck. You've had an authority. You know what it costs to operate all expenses, truck, trailer, fuel expense, fixed cost scenario on a carrier that you want to haul your freight. You know what he needs to make so you can make so to get the freight moved. You know all expenses involved. You know how to grow a trucking company, what they're involved in doing it. Why do you want to go from a driver to think you're going to get rich quick as a broker from a driver? I want to know. I hear that all the time. Just like
please.
Why carriers want and think they have to be a broker to get customers to get the rates the brokers want. I don't understand that flaw either. I don't understand it at all. I don't get that at all.
There is a core of misinformation out there. Okay? Misinformation. All right? If you're a driver and you're out there on the road, okay, automatically you get around any group of drivers that are going to talk and they're going to say this and they're going to say that. 99% of them are going to say, brokers are crooks and this and that and that and this. And, the real money needs to be paid to the drivers and to the trucking companies, and they're taking food off our tables. That is a long core line of bullshit. Okay. The general consensus is that every broker out there is making 30 and 40% off of a load and paying scraps to the trucking companies. No, they're not. A lot of that is not dictated by the broker. It is dictated by the shippers that you want to take away from the brokers and go direct to. Shaggy, tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
So, when you hear that, don't follow the misinformation. If you are a driver, thank you for that. Thank you for delivering groceries to our stores and fuel to our gas stations and everything in between. Thank you for all that. But because you are a driver does not mean that you know more than a broker does.
But it just kills me. It kills me how many phone calls I have from brokers. Like it really from people that want to be brokers. They're going to be brokers. It always starts off, well, I was a sales guy at a grocery store. And I'm not dogging nobody at all. I'm just saying how it starts. I was a sales guy as a broker. I was an MBA. I worked at a telecom communication center. And I was a phone caller and all that stuff. I'm like, what's that got to do with trucking?
Yeah. It has nothing. So what?
Yeah. You're the flying fuck. You think you're gonna go in and tell them, I got a great communicator to the customer, and the customer like, how many trucks you got?
You know, you take somebody that you know, you take somebody out of college that went for their logistics degree or whatever it is, to get knowledge in the industry.
So
Where you're going to learn is hands-on.
It is. And so here's a good question right there with I don't want to mess up her name, Miss McCrae. Everyone needs training to learn to do something. And we totally agree. That's why we come live twice a week. We had the Wednesday show. That's what makes what we do good. Frank will be on my training class tonight with 17, 16 people and talking brokerage and stuff. And Corey will be on there tomorrow night, and Frank will get on there when he comes back. And we'll have all these guys, all these years experience talking about brokering. I totally understand. But see, going from a driver to broker, going from a company driver to a broker is a lot different than what you think. Going from a company driver to owner operator to maybe having an MC number, getting your authority, adding on owner operators, not owning equipment, providing opportunity because you have the freight and you already know how to dispatch. You know, if you don't know maps and seasons, lanes, and how to negotiate, bid freight, as a carrier side, you're going to have a hard time on the broker side when you start doing it, because you need to know what carriers need to operate to move their freight. Because if you don't have trucks as a new broker with no credit score, you will not survive.
No, you'll be done. And if you're brand new and you're still learning the side of the business, become an agent for somebody to get your feet wet.
You know what's funny too? Like every time somebody calls me and they're getting in the brokerage, right? Or we're talking to them, I'm always like, where'd you work before? Well, I was a biochemical engineer, or I worked at Walmart, or I did this, or I do that, or I work for Texas Industries. I'm an engineer over there, and you're whatever, or I was at whatever, a factory job. I was a supervisor here. And it's always funny because you always start off the conversation is like, so when you got employed, did you go through an orientation? Did you go through a hiring process? And while you worked there and you guys had those assembly lines, did every department work together so they can get the product moved? When you guys were running, and so did they have monthly meetings keeping you up on everything? Some people did one part, but somebody in that business made sure they knew how all the parts to run and not one part ran individually. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
So we're in the largest industry in the world, right? Check this out. We're in I don't know what's much bigger than transportation across the world, because it doesn't matter what freaking country you're in. Somebody's got to move the stuff to eat, move stuff to move, everything, you know? So I don't know if we're classified as the largest industry in the world, probably as a whole or not. We got to be somewhere up there, you know what I mean? And so if we're that big of an industry and we're regulated, who's that company that regulates us?
The FMCSA?
Was it the feds?
Yeah, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
Oh, yeah. So we're actually employees of the government still in this business, right? Federal, even though we
Absolutely. TDOT, another branch.
It's a very regulated business with the highest amount of risk out there, right? And claims, fraud, deceit, lying, and everything that's going on. Why would we come into this business as a broker or a dispatching service or a trucking company and not know how to do all of it? Well, even though we may not. Why would we know everything about the business before we jump in, Frank?
Well, because there is that. Why don't we know? Is that what your question is? Because there is a misconception that you can get rich real quick by being a middleman and brokering freight. Because as a matter of fact,
that's a
Marhan,
great right there.
Marhan, yeah. You know, people assume that brokers. No, they don't. No, they don't. Maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 on a good day. 20 on a good day. No, they don't. Do not believe that crying ass horseshit. It is bullshit. There are brokers out there that are crooks. It's true. They exist. But the reality is reality. And nobody's stealing from you. People are all in this industry just trying to make a living.
And I really think I think it's different. I think there is going to be crooks, but I think it's a smaller percentage in this industry than what we see because it's so big. But I think the three factors in the industry right now are, you got one style broker that's rate brokers, that all they care about is the money. If they have to drop off 700 employees because the market's down, they'll do it. If they have to add 700 employees, they'll do it. Just like your mega trucking companies. If they have to downsize, they'll downsize. They have to pre-order 100 trailers, they'll do it, right?
Sure, sure.
And so you got your rate brokers and your relationship brokers. See, if you don't have a credit score and you don't have money in the bank, thousands and thousands of dollars, it goes back to all your sales and all your work relies on trucks. And if you don't know how to control the trucks, build relationship with trucks, would sell the trucks. And so we got margin here. He says it's simply a lot of drivers here. The brokers are taking 50% of the money. That shippers are paying for the loads. So they want to cut out the middleman. But the problem is that they assume the brokerage is getting rich quick. And then the truth hits them between between the guy pulling up in their parking lot and dumping radiator fluid all over your customer's pond, and then they come to you with a hazmat claim for $50,000, and then they hold up your invoices and your factoring company cuts you off. Or what is it about when you finally get a customer and the rates flop on you because the seasons change and you don't understand them? Next thing you know, you pay out $3,000 out of your pocket for 3 loads, and your customer don't care because they're not giving it to you, and they still expect you to move all the freight and service it. But no, the brokers don't care. You just give the load back if you can't get somebody to do it, and just drop it, right?
Absolutely.
We don't get punished for it. It doesn't cost us nothing, does it?
No, we're just a broker, right?
Pretty much. So, guys, while you're on here, if you guys have any questions about brokering, what we're talking about, trucks, why people are having trouble, what they don't understand. And see, and it all comes back down to the training classes. Like when I have people call me about other training classes, I always wondered, was the training class enough information? Did they really do the work after the class? Did you really go do the homework? Because no one wants to do it because we're still working our job. We're doing this. We go over. Did you really make the phone calls and research the customers and know everything about them? Not just look up a list on ThomasNet, put it together, and start dialing down 100 calls. Did you research them? Did you find out who's moving their freight? Who's got the freight? What trucks are hauling it? Do they work with carriers? Do they work with brokers? Do you know their lanes, the type of freight that's going on it? Once you figure all that stuff out, do you start calling them, or should you find the trucks?
I'd say you get your business then, because if you don't know your customer first and you don't have the business first, how are you going to know what trucks to go get? How are you going to know what to tell the trucks? If you're not educated on your customers' needs, how are you going to know? Because if you just try to catfish it and you try to go out there and just say, okay, hey, I'm about to get this freight real soon, but you don't know anything about what the needs are to haul it, you're going to lose trucks. Your trucks aren't going to stick with you. Sometimes you can know everything about it and they won't stick with you anyway.
Especially when COVID happens.
Especially when COVID happens.
Especially with the rates right now, because if you're a rate broker and you're trying to find trucks and you have no relationships, vodka and Jack's your favorite friend. Maybe some too.
Yeah, I mean, so me personally, have business before you invest in inventory. That is my personal outlook and opinion on it.
See, and everybody's different. So you look at me and Corey on the other side. We believe you should have the trucks to control the rates to service the customer. Once you understand the type of freight commodities that you're going after and you know everything about them, then we think you should go get the trucks. So not only can I bid the freight faster, understand the freight, and have a surplus of trucks that are committed to me to haul, I think you should go after the trucks first, get the trucks, understand the lanes, know what they charge me to move to different areas, and they're committed to work with me as a new broker, then go after the freight.
Sure. And that is if you have a customer that has needs, that gives you spot freight, because there is such a thing, guys, and we don't talk about it much. This stuff you can learn in the class or learn under some mentorship. But there is such a thing as spot freight from a shipper to a broker or a trucking company. They're called spot loads. It means it's not dedicated, but you get it all the time. Jewel Grimes says, how do you know who is carrying their freight? I don't think I understand the context of your question, Jules.
What do you mean? How do you know who's carrying their freight? There's several places to do it. If you took a training class and you actually were focused in it, you would have learned when I was teaching you about the dispatching and the broker network, you would learn that there's 2 sides to every part of this business. And if you look into the other side before you go into this side, you find out what's going on if you learn both sides.
Yeah, and Jules, the simplest answer I can give you is that when a driver signs for a bill of lading at a shipper, 9 times out of 10, there's always that trucking company's name on that bill of lading. And a lot of times the broker doesn't see it until the trucking company bills them, for that load. But that's one way that someone would know.
Well, it's simple. What if I get a load board, and as a carrier, since DAT graciously gives it out to every freaking body with an MC or number or not, right?
Sure.
I just posted it in the group. Any dispatch service in the world can get a load board with DAT now without an MC number. So you go to DAT and get that wonderful MC number, you get that wonderful load board, and Frank posts his loads, and I call Frank up, and he don't know I'm a broker, and I ask him about his loads and where it picks up, and see. So I go to load board and constantly watch that town. What's the odds that there's how many in that town that's coming out, and how many flatbed customers are out there, and who could be hauling? What if
right. And that's another thing.
Oh, what if I do a satellite view and see 3 months ago who was pulling in and call that carrier and investigate through there? I have the right to ask anybody any questions I want to. I could call a trucking company and pry all I want. What are they going to do? Hang up on me?
Very likely, especially if you're a broker. But yes, and that's another thing that people can learn of. Density. It's called density. How many in a specific market? And we could talk about any kind of truck you want, Shaggy. We can talk about flatbeds, reefer, step decks, dry vans. How many loads versus how many trucks are in that market daily? If you see a market where there's 7,000 loads that need to be moved that day and you've only got 1,250 trucks, the rates are going to skyrocket through the roof. And you're going to have to know to bid more to that customer to get that freight. If it's the other way around, rates are going to sink. They're going to go down. Or you can let the truck sit. It's whatever you want to do. But
that's not going to work.
No, it's not. You're not going to generate.
Where to get trucks?
Yeah, trucks.
It's amazing how that keeps coming up. See, you can't dispatch without trucks. You can't broker without trucks. Shippers can't move their freight without trucks.
Yeah, I don't care how good a load of freight is. If you don't have a truck to move it.
It's funny too. I always wondered if we were able to talk to 1,000 people that might watch this video over the next 24 hours, how many of those guys are trucking companies, right?
Sure. Probably a lot of them.
How many guys do you think are brokers? And the trucking companies with brokerages?
I couldn't tell you a percentage of that because a lot of people that watch us are fairly new to the industry and
already active trucking companies in the first 1 to 2 years that are anywhere from 10 to 50 trucks. How many of those guys do you think already have a successful brokerage and are actually working with customers or living off the load board?
Honestly, I hate to say it, but that percentage is probably very low. Very low. 2%.
Wow. So, carriers aren't allowed to have brokerages as salespeople?
No, no. Why would they do that? They need a broker.
They always have to use brokers. They shouldn't have their own. They shouldn't get salespeople and go sell direct. The guy's probably juggling hats. You can't afford to pay somebody $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, right?
Oh yeah, but yet the brokers are still crooks, and they should be eliminated, and all of this and that and that and this. You're treading on thin ice with that one because that's going to piss a lot of people off.
I'm just asking, if you have carriers out there, aren't carriers' number one goals to get customers, but they probably don't have salespeople?
Correct. They either don't have salespeople, or it's not their niche, or it's they don't know how to sell it. There are such things as truck drivers that own more than one truck and have a company.
If I was to call 100 to 200 customers a day for the next 30 days, I wonder how many of them would ask me for trucks.
Yeah, I don't know. It just.
If you had 1,000 customers, how many would rather have assets, or how many would rather have you, the broker? If they really could, if the assets could.
A lot of them prefer. A lot of them prefer asset-based trucking. Jesse Abbott says, "I'm one that got off to a quick start because I respect all areas of the industry. It's about the relationship." Did he take one of your classes?
I don't know if he did, but we're talking about it. Might have. I can't remember anymore.
Because this guy sounds like he gets it.
He does. I know it's crazy because you learn all the industry, so you can help carriers with problems, trucks with problems. You can help drivers with problems. You can help them fix safety. You can get them freight. Because if you ask any of the brokers out there, any of them, really, those smart ones, if you ask them, you could have a fleet of trucks come and take all your freight, you wouldn't even have to look for carriers no more. Would you do it?
If you could take all the freight and not have to look.
If you could take all the freight you have and just use certain carriers and never have to put it on the load boards again and have relationships, would you do it?
Absolutely. We do it. 99% of our freight does not go on the load boards.
I was looking at the load boards earlier. I was on there and I was like, dang, we look all over Facebook and all over the Facebook world, right? We see we all see all the comments, but I was on that earlier doing my training class with a guy, with TJ. And it was funny because I just see those same rate brokers on there all the time. And I'm wondering where everybody else is. There's tons of them on there. They're all playing the rates. You think they have relationships? A lot of these.
Now, I mean, there's a lot of moving elements to that. Some people are definitely playing rates. If somebody has the same customer you do, and you're a broker and you post a load, a trucking company's going to call and ask you, "Hey, what are you paying on that load?" Like they're wanting to inquire about hauling it for you, and then they'll hang up on you or whatever, and then call the shipper back. They're back soliciting.
I so bad want to really open up this show we're on right now and really put some tidbit nuggets out there for these guys like we teach in the webinars at night. But I know as soon as I do it, somebody's going to be like, that's the missing piece to my class. You know what I mean? And I just don't want to do it. They got to call us and talk to me and you to find out. Because I really want to.
Yeah,
get out there and answer some of these questions, and I'm not just to the point to drop it, but we will start getting more technical. I've done all the areas of the industry, shipping and receiving, been a carrier manager of 110 trucks, and now the owner of a brokerage. That is sweet. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I hope your brokerage is going well, and if there's anything we can do to help you and give you some advice, give you some tips, man, let us know.
Seriously, best of luck. Best of luck, man.
Because I'm the trucking guy and Frank's the trucking guy. I love trucking. I love trucks. I love owner operators. I love diversity. I love not owning any equipment. I love flipping trailers. I like residuals and I like networking. I like having my guys home on weekends, making $5,000 to $7,000 a week back to back without freight chasing. I don't like freight chasing. I like building products with my brokerage because I understand trucks, so I can duplicate that product. So that way, whenever Jesse gets knowing what he's doing, and if COVID hits again, I understand the trucks, so I don't have to get killed on rates, and they come in and steal my customer by 75 cents a mile with those 110 trucks. Just saying.
Keep responding to a customer. Anyways, what else we got? 30 days ago, shipped 15 brokers and made $45K last month, first month.
So you shipped 50 loads, got 15 brokers. Wow. We have 3 brokers. We moved 733 loads.
Yeah. Our brokers.
Those numbers though, you're bragging on the show, Jesse, and I'm sitting here going 50 loads shipped through 15 people in 30 days on no credit with your own money. And you only profited around $45,000. What's that average out?
And that's salaries. Yeah, Jesse, I don't know you.
What is that? $75 a load?
Yeah. Jesse, I don't know you. All the respect and love to you in the world, but those numbers do not add up. And the reason for that is that there are days I myself move 40 loads. What?
I could have 15 agents tomorrow. Hey, anybody want to be an agent?
Yeah, I mean. Right. 50 shipper / customers. Okay.
Okay. I got it because it said 50 loads. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That was about to get a little sketchy. I mean, because there are brokers out there. I've done it, and it's hard, but we could broker 30, 40 loads a day by ourselves. But you're there sun up to sundown. You're eating lunch at your desk and all that stuff. But it can be done.
Yeah, because I think Corey and them were doing, I don't know, 100 something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think we got the picture now, Jesse. You got the shippers. So yeah.
You have all the the key is that I have all the shippers in the world, but if you got to move that freight.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we have probably 50 shippers. And I think Corey said he has a little over 50 shippers in the database too, but the $7-8 million that we're pushing, we were going to do more with COVID. We can't do anything. I mean, we're only doing it with 3 because it's hard to service all 50. Well, I mean, we got 50 agents in there that started yesterday. I mean, how many agents of them new? I mean, 15 agents. I mean, how are you taking the time?
Yeah, that sounds about right, Jesse.
That's good numbers.
Yeah, it's good for you. But there are other people that out there that want to do what Jesse's doing, that want to do what we're doing, that want to do what Shaggy's doing. There are other people out there that that need the help. They need to know how to get there.
You're not going to get no calls.
Well, not right. Yeah, I'm not getting no calls.
What loads are you posting? You're posting lumber out of Alabama, North Carolina. You're another one of those people that's on the email list posting building supplies. What are you posting? You getting ready to start posting Christmas trees because they're coming up in November? Are you trying to help with pumpkins and watermelons? What are you doing? Chickens?
Yeah.
What are you I mean, what are you doing? And number 2, do you have credit? Do you have credit? Are you before your 6 to 8 month mark? Have you moved any loads? Do you not have credit? See, I always tell people too, like there's a lady this morning that already paid somebody $1,000 and somebody else something, and I felt bad. She just joined a group and I was talking to her just randomly for a few minutes. And it was funny because I'm talking to her and I said, how are you going to bid your freight? Produce. Yeah. Well, you have to understand produce, the risk in it, and what's involved. Number 2, if you don't have no credit in your 4-6 months. And number 3, if that's not a lane that one of the carriers wants, you're not going to get a call. You go post a produce load going from Indiana back to California with the new broker and see what happens.
Yeah, it's reefer. Yeah, produce.
Post a load going back to California with a reefer and see what happens, how many calls she gets. It's all lanes in the commodities. When you're new, you have a lot of trouble. Do you have trucks? Did you go find hundreds of trucks that pull reefer freight that committed to you and gave your rates and told you they would pull that type of freight before you sold your customer?
No credit. 1 year in service.
Are you even
that's part of your issue. Another part of your issue is that there's more freight than there are trucks right now. That will change. And produce season is very, very competitive and cutthroat. Shaggy, you know all about that. Dad, he knows the produce part of it inside and out, and it's a cutthroat market. It's going to be hard. It really is.
Markets. I don't want to pick up watermelons and Vincennes and over there. I don't want to go to Grand Rapids. I don't want to go out to fight in the produce game in California. I have no interest in Yuma. I have no interest in Pallet Exchange. I have no interest in lumpers. I have no interest in this market of 300 to 700 new fucking drivers coming in the market. And I love all my drivers. I'm just saying there's a lot of them right now that are coming in because they think they're going to get rich quick, jumping from what they're doing because it's nuts with the new authorities coming in. But we have no interest in doing all that stuff. I know you're new and you're building it up. You're trying to get the best you can to pay for the freight, but there's so many better ways to do it. We keep saying, do you control the trucks? Do you control the trucks? You can have all the customers in the world, but if you don't have a credit, you don't control the trucks. You got lied to and you're not going to make no money because you got to have trucks.
Right. Where is this?
So, and it's crazy too, because you just said you had no credit and you went out and picked a commodity that goes on reefers with the highest risk, the highest claims, and the highest thing where drivers are going to mess it up. You got recorders, you got all this stuff, temperature. I mean, there's a lot, man. A lot of people don't do reefers because they don't want to mess with it. And it's a headache. It's specifically like we talked when Corey comes on the show. He only wants dry van. He'll do some flatbed, and he likes the stuff that involves work, not claims. Multiple drop stuff some other people don't want to do. And you have to start learning the commodities too. What's the value of it? How fast does it move? Where is it going? Is it going to sit on AutoZone's warehouse for the next 2 weeks? If a customer says he has 15 loads a day and they move every day, how are you going to make money off that when there's no urgency into that freight? Is it super, super high? How competitive is the market? Is it something that is your name, LJ, Miss Hall, is your name attached to 75 other brokers when they give it to you? That could be a problem, because you guys, a lot of broker schools out there that are training and people that are training, they train you, but you never see their brokerage. They train you, but they never see the brokers on the boards. You can't find them. Like in our class last couple of weeks ago, we had Tom with Operify come on and pull up a Sonia credit, because a lot of people don't get a chance to see it. It's really cool when you go in there and you actually see the real information and how all the factoring companies report and how the real credit comes across, and how some carriers are on DAT, our brokers are on DAT, but their credit still sucks. Looking up customers, stuff like that. It's really neat to see, because it's weird too, because when you look on a Sonia, it might only say you do this much volume, like $100,000 a month, but you're really doing $400,000 a month. And then you can show it's this really, really neat, and you start learning. All right.
Can't win them all, but I'm winning a lot of them now. All depressed. Yep, good call on that. Yeah, and LJ, we're here to help. We want to hear everybody's needs. Bring your questions, whatever you guys got. I have trouble bidding and winning loads and getting new shippers. Any advice? Start with that one.
Me?
Yeah.
It all goes back to the whole conversation what we're doing. Why are you having trouble bidding loads? Have you researched the customers, understand the customers, found the trucks? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Number one, again, and that goes back to one of my points earlier. This is broker week, right? That goes back to one of my points. Who really controls the price of the market? The broker or the shipper? You're bidding and not getting awarded any freight, and getting new shippers, that's going to be hard, because, it's like we say every week, there's 100 people that call your shipper, the shippers that you call every day, and offer them the same service you do. They get 100 calls, from people like yourself that are trying to establish new business. So you've got to figure out what separates you from someone else. And that's how you're going to get awarded your freight. So
how are you going to separate yourself when you're just like John Average Woman?
Yeah.
All I got is I have a really nice.
What incentive?
I have a really great voice. You know what I mean?
What incentive do those shippers have to call you back if they've got 20 other calls just like yours? What incentive do they have to call you back instead of the other guys that have called them wanting to solicit business?
I don't have anything. I don't have no trucks. I'm just a broker.
One thing, Julie, and I'll give you just a quick little tip here, and it's free advice on me this time. Reach out to your customer and ask them where you need to be on a certain lane. And sometimes they'll tell you, sometimes they won't.
But I still don't have no trucks.
If you ain't got trucks, it doesn't matter what you bid. But we're talking specifically about how to get your foot in the door.
Have trucks?
You can have trucks, have a service, have access to trucks. Yes, trucks are just as important a part of the puzzle as the brokerage is.
No, Louisa, I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'll show you our customers and stuff like that. But fuck no, you're going to go out there and get your own customer. You might want to. There is some guys online that are out there. You can get on YouTube 101, where that guy will charge you a bunch more money than I do, and he guarantees he'll give you a customer right after. You could check out his class. Then whenever you're done with that one, hey, I'll let you come back and do mine. But we are booked out till January 4th.
Yeah. No, Louisa, we don't give people customers. I mean, we have our own. If we're going to get customers, we're going to put them under our umbrella. Mm-hmm. So no, we don't just give away customers.
But yeah, no, we're not. We're here teaching you how to get customers because we have customers, not.
So, but the courses do offer a lot of detailed insight to the industry. They're not designed to just take your money and move on to the next one. The courses are very, very insightful. And look, they're not even my courses; they're Shaggy's courses. And there are go on his page and read the reviews. I mean, if you just take a look at the reviews for people that have taken their classes, they speak for themselves.
They're in the group and ask. It's right there in the top right-hand corner. Shaggy's Consulting Training. Ask anybody in there if they've got customers for my classes and they're running. They'll be glad to tell you.
Sure. I mean, shit, I learn stuff from Shaggy sometimes just by listening, just by shutting up and listening, just listening to him talk.
Yeah.
You never stop learning in this game.
And the bad part is it's hard to really get on these live shows and go when you're still in business doing stuff. Like we had all our stuff in PowerPoints and laid out. We're selling like PDF webinars where everybody and their mom could buy it because I stole it for somebody else. It would be different when we're teaching, right? When Frank and Penny and you and Bob and Nick and Alex and Tom with Operify and Jay and Larry and all these people come in because I'm not the only teacher. And Frank, I'm not the only teacher in my class. I'm the main teacher, but there's so many more people that come in that have been doing this business. I mean, look, Penny's filed, she was talking last night, like 100 to 150 POC3s. How many hours do you learn when you file that many things for carriers on a regular basis and did over 10,000 MC numbers in 30 years? When you bring somebody like that, it's funny because she was in our class last night talking about Scott, the owner of Internet Truck Stop.
Uh-huh.
Them changing diapers and stuff when they were little, with their kids and stuff. And I'm sitting, you put a lady like that in your classes that has those kind of relationships to put tidbits of information that's been doing this forever. That's when you're talking about real doing, not some fly-by-night person just did it once. So Corey's there. You going to come in?
Corey, where you at, Kimfolk?
We'll bring him in. Never said he wanted to come on. I like having Corey on.
Bring him.
That would be a really good addition to our show. Hold on, Adam in. Go ahead and talk.
Yeah. Can't.
Well, what the hell, you big slacker? Don't be in there talking crap then.
He's got freight to move.
He just picked up 2 more customers. He's got all that downline list that he's done, so he's getting busier and busier.
You know how I picked him up? Trucks.
That's the key. Actually, this one, he made sure he found all the Corey's a really smart cookie because he teaches in the class about the niche from his pallet industry and stuff like that, all the way up to where he got the customers. And then most of his customers have another downline of customers, so it's working their customers and stuff. And he's known it forever, and I've been busting his balls for a while. The hard part is doing the sales and the operations. It's just like when a guy, never mind, I won't go there. I'll be nice. I was going to go there, but I won't go there because I know better. I'm not. Nope. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. It's a family show. We don't do it. I'm not doing it. All right.
Don't have a hair on your nah.
But we'll go.
I triple dog dare you.
Nope. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. Everybody, we love everybody. Everybody goes. They each do it their own way, whether what they're doing is legit or not, or they are doing it right, or if it's really that big or not. I'm not saying nothing because I don't know. I'm not there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
state my opinion, but my opinion on that part doesn't matter. So, I mean, it could be true,
Sure. Yeah.
So
guys, where are your questions at? What are some things that you guys like to know?
15 minutes. You got 11 minutes. We're going to shut this sucker down, and we'll be back on Thursday. So we're going to try to keep it down so we don't get all really bored and fall asleep. But you guys, if you're in brokerage or you're taking a school with somebody else or you're doing something wrong or you're missing a piece or you don't understand, you don't understand trucks, relationships with trucks, then ask some questions. Let's find out. We're here for another 15 minutes or so. What's going on? We have DAT, Rate View, and Truck Stop to help with rates. What do you guys suggest to use to get market rates? Because a lot of it's totally off. Hey, what I say again? Trucks. You have no credit. Trucks. If you don't have no trucks to pick up the freight, you can't move the freight. Trucks. But yeah, we're sold out. January. We have a few spots left for our trucking course in December 14th, but we're sold out until we're sold out to January 4th. Our next
Yeah,
broker.
but hey, Shaggy, she could still call you for a one-on-one though.
Oh yeah, they call for one-on-ones. The number's floating across the bottom of the screen. We can do one-on-ones. Did you just ask that, Miss Hall, where you find trucks?
I'm going to answer it, and I'm going to answer it for free. Relationships. Build relationships.
Well, where do you find the trucks? She wants to know.
Through your relationships with your trucking companies that you make.
But I got to find those trucking companies to make relationships.
Look, they're going to have to take your class for that. I can't just give it all away.
I'm not going to tell them either. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm going to be calling you for one. Yeah, if you guys want a one-on-one, you guys can schedule at shaggiesexpress.com. You guys can register for the boot camps there, but we are sold out until January 4th. December 14th, sorry.
And for those of you that are just getting started, that have been through the course already, that have taken the boot camps, and you're just getting started and you're just learning, something that I do on the side that Shaggy doesn't have a lot of time to do is I help people structure their operations so that they can know can I guarantee you success? No, nobody can. But what I could do is I could show you the best prime op times to post your freight, the best way to structure your track and trace, structure your order entry, the best way to minimize your time and maximize your efforts. So we can help structure your operation.
So you say you have trucks. But are they other carriers you have trucks? Are they your trucks? Did you just send out a bunch of carrier packets and get guys that have trucks? What kind of trucks do you have? Where are those trucks at? Where are the customers that you're going after? How are they located next to those trucks? Are your trucks all over 48 fucking states where they can't be where your customer is when you need them? Where are your freaking trucks?
Yeah, and Julie, I'm gonna let Shaggy, talk to him, do the consulting. I'm gonna let him tell you about, why you can't get the rates right, because there's a couple of ways to skin that cat, and Shaggy.
Oh yeah, comes back to trucks.
How can I get past drivers to send in credit information? Shaggy, that's your expert.
How can I get past drivers to send in credit? Drivers? Ask them. It's not that hard.
Yeah, and you don't get drivers to do it. You get the trucking companies to do it.
Yeah, you don't want the drivers to do it. You want the trucking companies to do it. Number two, first you got to get set up with the companies to report the credit. And number two, man, credit's a big deal too. And especially learning to control your days. We would have to do a whole nother show on controlling credit,
Right.
how to build the credit, the difference between, and bring Tom in and show you the Sonia and the trans credit, how people report, what kind of relations you have. And I'm just going to tell you guys, whether people like dispatching services or not, I'm telling you right now, if you're a broker that doesn't have a support system, you can't go out and buy a software system like McLeod that's going to do something for you, or you don't have like a lot of stuff. You're going to have a lot of trouble understanding a lot of things that's going on. You're going to be lost. That's why we keep getting calls all the time where people are lost, because you got to understand trucking. That is trucking. What did truckers do before brokers ever showed up?
Well, that was a way different time, different technology. And guess what? There wasn't a DAT load board. There wasn't they had a book. Everybody uses the term book of business. You would be surprised at how many people don't actually know what that means or where that reference comes from.
I was down in southern Indiana, and I can't remember the name of the trucking I was in. I can't remember. It was it wasn't Kimball. It's like Hoosiers or one of those trucking companies been around for a long time. The old guys.
Sure.
And his dispatching system was these 4 freaking whiteboards with lines on them and names and sticky notes and customers and loads. And that's how they moved them. I was like, what? And they hadn't even upgraded yet. And they're running like 50 trucks with customers and a brokerage. It was crazy. Trans credit's a very good thing. It's not the best out there, but it does help you build really, really fast, especially around the 3 or 4 month mark. But you should start doing it right away. Yes, at the beginning, it was so hard without credit. We paid quick pay for a while. Then working 10 to 15 days, we still try to pay in less than 15 days. It's still left to 15 days to keep our credit score. And that's a weird thing too about all that credit stuff, because we were talking to some credit fixing people the other day, and they were saying try not to pay them, even though you can pay faster. The way credit reports with the factoring companies and stuff, it's better to hold the bills for like 21 to 30 days and keep that consistent rate on paying than to try to pay it quicker, because they don't acknowledge it anyways. And then you just kill yourself on working capital trying to get it in faster. And it doesn't really help just because you're 15 days, because the factoring companies only report once or twice a month, and most factoring companies are building most of your credit anyways, besides the referrals that you're getting from the from the references, and you tie those two together, and then you start building your credit with these companies like TransCredit, Sonia, and there's 3 or 4 more that are out there to help report. Those are just some of the bigger ones, and you end up to hurt yourself sometimes too.
Yep.
Any more questions?
Bring them. We want to hear them.
Because I'm getting behind on work already. I'm so busy, dude. I got like 18 calls on my phone right now. So I just need to call. And I know
I got 12 and 13 texts.
Yeah. How to source direct clients? What are key points? Which ones? As a broker, customers, or carriers?
Shippers. He wants to know how to get customers.
Are you a trucking company or are you a standalone broker? Because it makes a big difference.
Should I join TIA? We're not members of TIA, Shaggy.
Joining TIA. Last time I checked, TIA was all those mega guys that are offering some services and another racket that may take your money to kind of mentor you along. I mean, you're more than welcome to. I've heard good and bad, and I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm not a government guy either, so
we're not members, and it doesn't. We didn't notice that it would help or hurt us either way to be members.
Well, they're brokers, so that's a weird thing. So I always, when I'm telling people in class, I always teach them like there's like 5 or 6 types. There's always that upper level, like you're exporting forward air or custom bonds and overseas. But in our world right now, we're not dealing with that. And you also have your containers and stuff like that, your ports. So you got your ports and your forwarding and your import export. Then you got your cars, right, Frank?
Yep.
And then what I call, we have a power only classification for freight, right?
Sure.
Anything that moves where somebody else needs to move it. Then you're going to have your dry van freight, which is everything for dry van, the vented van, the insulated van, the curtain side crane, drop deck van for auto parts, all the way down to your dry van, your little sprinter van, because you could walk into Lennox and Lennox could use all 5. So that's that category. The next category is going to be your refrigerated all the way back down to the expedited guy. Then you got 2 levels of open deck in my book. Open deck, it could be flatbed, 40, 53, 48, all the way down to the hot shot, right?
Right.
And then, kind of not even the hot shot, because I'm putting the hot shot because it's so complicated and hard to learn up there with the other categories. So you got 2 categories with open deck. I call it open deck. So you got flatbed, which is your general one, just like a dry van, right?
Right.
Then me in my book, everything else is exotic. When you start talking about RGN, step decks, low boys, double drops, and all that other stuff, curtain side cover wagons, imp depths, and then hot shots. Now you're starting to get into the more exotic because it's more complicated. Now, would you run into those customers? And see, what kills me too is there's so many categories, so many equipment, so many things to use to save your customers, save the freight, keep from having claims, risks that's involved. But we don't go out there and understand these categories and type of equipment before we start and understand what goes on them. How do they move it? Where do they ship it? Where does it go? How much weight can it haul? What's involved? What's the time? How much does the carrier need to make it? Each type of equipment has more expenses, more trailers, more payments, more money, more involved, more stuff. And you got to get these trucks to move the freight, the service to customer, and you got to play with all the seasons, just like with step bed, flatbed, and all those open deck guys. Their season is scary right now because what happens if we have a shitty winter starting next month?
It's supposed to be brutal, by the way. I know that's hypothetical, but we are supposed to have a brutal winter this year.
So what if we do? What would that do to those guys?
That's going to stop a lot of them, especially if you go, especially if you go out to some of those places that just ice up all over in the winter. Colorado, Utah, Wyoming.
The Midwest gets drenched like it did in 2014. What's that going to do? Dry van freight might go through the roof, but what's it going to do for the rest of them? And reverse.
It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt.
What's going to happen to all the hotshot guys that are already struggling because they're living off low boards, freight chases, staying out, can't go home, and they're trying to chase freight, and it's all gone because they're pouring in by the bundles because everything looks finger licking right now.
They're going to take a hit.
So where's the diversity in their business that they're learning, right? So get back to this question. So you first thing you got to do is understand what you're going after. And remember, you're not God, so you can't save the fucking world.
Sure.
Number two, then you got to understand the commodities, what they move, because you're calling all these customers. Don't you think the guy that moves freight all day understands his own damn product?
Yeah, he should. They should. I looked at your course. You tell us the software needed. You show us.
The only thing we don't hit you with is the kitchen sink. We're going to tell you so much bad stuff in the course, you're not even going to want to be a broker no more. When we start talking about all the fraud, the risk, the claims, the liability, the stuff that's going to come in, the lawsuits that are happening on a daily basis. Wait till Miss Penny comes on because she's a processing agent, and she starts talking about the lawyers that are sending her subpoenas because she's a processing agent for these people. How many come across her desk for claim and lawsuits of carriers on a daily and weekly basis that are being sued for liability right now because of the crazy lawyers out there, because of the risk of the contingency cargo and the claims and the accidents and the freight and all that stuff that goes on, because everybody wants to get rich in this big the largest mega industry of the world, but they don't want to build it like a real business and understand it all.
Speaking of which, to the other half of this question, auto broker from your website.
Huh?
Just my opinion. Just my opinion.
I looked at your course. Do you tell us something? What are you talking
about? She's asking if you tell us the software needed. No, you don't.
Auto broker though.
You what now?
Was it like
auto brokers talking about where carriers can go on your website and get loads off your website? Number one, in my opinion, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, it's bad. There's no control. What are we all going to be brokers like Uber?
Yeah, I mean, it is a horrible idea. Look, you're not Uber, you're not Schneider, you're not any of those guys. You're a very small broker. You're getting the cart way, way, way ahead of the horse. You want to talk to these people you broker loads to. You do not want to auto broker anything. Again, just my opinion.
Especially if you don't have a credit score. Hell, it's hard. Look at what's her name up there that's talking about she has trucks. She's already telling you she's built her credit. Julie, she's built her credit. Supposedly she has the trucks that she's going to, and she's going after the stuff. So look at her. Miss McRae, we've seen that happen so many times. I mean, I could tell you 4 Indian guys that are working on websites like that. There's another guy. There's another company that's doing a really good job. I forget the name of it. Somebody told me about that the other day. There's a new site that's going in, and they just chopped out a whole bunch of customers because they're trying to go direct and eliminate the brokers again. These things pop up all the time.
Yeah, they're out there, and
it does.
Right. Carriers are going to go in there. Carriers are going to go in there, bid on freight, and never pick it up. They have nobody to answer. Nobody's ever going to find out if the truck picked a load up. There's not. When you take the person out of it, you're asking for a whole lot of trouble. And for those reasons,
hold on. Check this out. So our customer up in Sheboygan, I don't think Corey's working with her no more, but she does toilet paper up in Sheboygan, and it's really crazy. That's that customer up there. We used to do some stuff with her, and she left us because Keep Trucking walked in, right? Keep Trucking. And their sales guy comes in with that new brokerage they have. I forget what the name of it is now because I really don't care about Keep Trucking, but it starts with a P or whatever it is. They bought it. And they're coming in, and they got this new load board app design, and it's rolling. And it's funny because they came in and they said, "Look, Frank, I got this tablet right here, and this is our company, and we can provide you great service, and we can get carriers that are right by you at a cheaper rate to your business." Yeah, Corey says yes, to your business to be able to help you do better. And they came in and chopped Corey's balls off by I don't know what it was, because they said they had 200,000 carriers or whatever they have. And each one of those carriers have signed a thing where they can track them and show where they're at. So they have all these guys using their devices so they know where they're at, so they can use their software, their brokerage, and your freight to be able to move it better. And it ask Corey, it lasted probably, I don't know, was it a week? And their stuff was left on the dock. So if they're that big and you're that, how is that going to happen? I mean, they got 200,000 guys that they can put the load on their e-log device if they wanted to. And then you got 1, 2, 3 load board up there with Lauren, which is a very good friend of mine that has some of the most badass technology out there on a load board. I like it actually better in truck stop and DAT, but the problem is he's coming from behind, and they've been around, 15 years?
Yeah, they've been around forever.
He's got 18 IT guys, he was telling me. 3 days, Corey said, they didn't even come through. Keep trucking in their new brokerage for these customers, but they promised the world.
Yep. They separated themselves from everybody else, that's for sure. Well, they really didn't, because now a lot of brokers have these track and trace apps that they send to the driver's cell phones. What's it called?
Forecast, macro point.
Macro point.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people have them, and they're not very effective.
This world's not ready. These customers in this world's not ready for relationships to be gone, because it takes the power. And you start doing everything automated and stuff. A lot of people still can't use it. There's drivers out there that don't know it. People don't want to do it. We still want to talk face to face.
Right. They want to hear a voice.
She said, yeah, for me, it's all in, not bidding low. It's enough to win the load. But what is the point of bidding low and not being able to pay my truck to make money? Well, I don't understand why you're bidding low on freight, number one, because like Corey says all the time, Corey is my partner in our brokerage at Cap Logistics, and Frank runs G3 Services. Frank will come on here. But as Corey always says, how can you bid freight if you don't actually know the rates of the trucks that are going to pull it? And then if you don't have the trucks to pull it, and you can't bid the rates that they want and get it, and then you can't move it, you're going to fail, aren't you, Frank?
Yeah, and not only that, and listen, I'm going to give you a story. Dad tells it all the time on here. I'm going to tell it this time. You will have a shipper that will not want to pay what we want to charge, and we'll give them our rate. And they'll say, well, you sorry this and you sorry that. That's too high. That's highway robbery. Hell no, never going to use it again. Hang up the phone on us.
And if you go in too low anyways, because you're trying to do exactly what you're saying, and you fail, you're already lost the customer anyways.
Exactly.
Right. And then you're going in too cheap to cover it. And then you start thinking about these customers like Corey the other day when he had to pay. What was that, Corey? How many loads did you have to pay on, and your customer didn't compensate you? What was it? You had 10 loads or whatever it was, and it was $1,000, or it was like $10,000 or $5,000 that came out of your pocket, and the customers. See, that's why I think everybody's fucking wrong in the head, because you guys think every customer's paid detention times. Every customer pays truck orders not used. Every customer is going to pay layovers and all that stuff, and all these guys.
Oh, that's the crooked thieving broker, Shaggy. It's not the shippers.
That's right. And you think these guys don't have to pull these losses out of their pay whenever your little tire or brake breaks down and stuff. How can you bid cheap and not bid what your carrier's going to move for, plus cover yourself a little bit for all those problems? I mean, what do you think, Corey, whenever you decide you don't want to sit there that extra, or Frank, when you don't want to sit there an extra 30 minutes to wait because the driver's there because you're worried about not getting detention time?
Exactly. And, and some of those people don't care. For those of you that think you're going to get real rich in the brokering, these guys don't care. They don't care if your customer pays detention or not. They, by God, want it from you.
Oh, I love it.
You're just a sorry broker.
I remember when I first started, right? And I could always tell, because I called Corey, and Corey would tell me what it is because he knew his customer, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the difference in who you're working with in relationships as a carrier to broker. If I call Corey or Frank, I know they know their customer because they're going to tell me this guy ain't paying me nothing. It's just, this is what I got. You can do it. And and I know he might be holding stuff, but he'll tell me what's going on. And he's my customer. He's the one paying me. He's the one taking the loss, and he's going to tell me if he's taking a loss. He's going to do it, and we're going to know. when I have to call a broker and they tell me I got to go work with my customer and find out what they're doing, I'm like, last time I checked, I signed the agreement with you. You ain't good enough as a broker to go and know everything about your customer before you do it, or you just rating loads to try to make a buck or two, hope you don't lose. Huh?
Yeah. You got to know your market, and you have to be, and sometimes you have to stand your ground, because the other half of my story was this: they'll hang up on you. 2 hours later, they'll call back. Hey, you still got that truck? Nope, not anymore. Now the price is this because another truck wants more money. So they may not like it, but they'll pay. They have to get their freight moved that fast.
Training class the other day is just see people's faces whenever they're looking. And I think Corey lost 1,100 on one load, 1,000 on another load, 900 on another one in 3 days.
Wow.
Just to cover the freight for the customer to get the loads. But like he always says, in business, if you're in the good at the end, are you winning?
Now, if you're in the good at the end,
you're in the black and you're making profits still.
You're in the black, and you're in the black. You just don't want to establish a precedent of losing money.
No, you can't. So you still have to make sure the rest of it covers it, because if you're in a total losing loss, you're done, right?
Absolutely.
But how do you do that if you don't control the trucks in a market where it's against you? Are you talking to your customer again?
Yeah. All right.
I'm telling you, hurry up, get some more of those Nashville loads that Indiana picked up. They're sitting there. Hurry up.
Yeah. All day. But
you're like,
actually,
those are 45,000 pounds. Like that's why we work together and we bust our ass to make it. That's why you keep coming back to us, because no one else wants to move that crap, and we work our ass off to get it moved, right?
Absolutely. And we have it covered. We have the relationships now. We have the right people in place. And we went through points of putting it on the board, but now we've got the relationships. We got all we need.
If he has time to be talking on here, he has time to get his ass on here. You know what I mean? When people email for rates and I never win one, I figure I am watering a dead stump, and they are dead to me.
They are dead to me. Mr. Wonderful, Shark Tank.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He needs to be on here. We'll call him Mr. Wonderful. I don't know which one I pick, but I'll be what's the guy that owns the fucking Mavericks?
Mark Cuban?
Yeah, I'll go with Mark Cuban.
Yeah. There you go.
The guy on the end.
You what now?
What's the guy on the end down there that sold the software and stuff?
Robert Herjavec?
We'll go with
that's like a cybersecurity badass. I'm more like the FUBU guy.
Huh?
I'm the FUBU guy.
Oh, you go. All right, so we'll go FUBU. All right, the truck tank.
Yeah, but you can't establish the precedent of losing money, but
FUBU more than that. Now I think about it. The way you're
you had that going on. But if you're in the black at the end of the month, you're doing good.
But how many people understand all that? That's you don't even think about. No one ever hears how many people are at these broker bond companies filing claims because they don't even pay the first load they get from a customer. And a lot of those customers that are shopping like that don't give a shit. They're rate customers too. Whoever moves it the cheap, and if there's 100 of them doing it, they don't care. What kind of customer is that?
The customer that lets the freight sit?
No, the customer that uses 100 different brokers with no relations to any of them, that moves it cheap as possible.
What are you asking about them? What about them?
What kind of customer is that for building a relationship? There is no relationship.
There is no relationship, because they'll get rid of you as quickly as they
can. The problem is that's what half these people are starting out with, and they don't understand that's what they're starting out with, because they just start out and they don't take the time to build the relationships or understand the market or the network or the rates, the season, where it's going, where it's not going, when stuff plays. That map behind my head, that one right there, the one everybody keeps trying to duplicate all the time. That one with all the seasons on it, right?
Yeah.
How could you bid?
How long have you had that, man? Is that the same map you had when I first met you?
Yeah, it's still up there. No one stole it yet.
Spare no expense.
Mm-hmm.
Shitty customer always the lowest bid. Always looking for the lowest bid. Yes, they are. They a lot of customers are rate driven. And they don't care about service. They don't care about relationships. They care about one thing. They care about rates, because they're held accountable by their bosses and their company to keep costs down.
And your job is to make sure they don't ever have to talk to their boss.
Yes. because they don't want that. They want to keep their jobs.
So how are you going to do that with no trucks and not understand the trucking industry as a broker?
You got to understand trucks. You got to understand the industry. You got to understand.
But I don't have time to do all that. I just graduated with Broker 101 and I need to make money now.
Okay, you'll make money when you start learning what kind of trucks you need.
But I don't understand the trucks I need. I just want to sell freight. They said that's all I need to do is make 100 calls a day.
Well, that's great, but you're not going to make any serious money. You might make a little bit of money, but you're not going to make serious money.
Hank Tanner says, my issues is I run. Here, I'll put it up for you. This is going to be the last question.
All right.
My issue is I run into my issues I run into are the carriers giving direct rates that are so far apart. Heavy haul market, that is, quoting loads that should be around 26 to 27,000. Yeah, I know. And I don't know what's going on with that, Hank. You know, that's a really weird question. I think it's because of the demand. Because I think with all this, with all these solar panels sitting down there in Houston and the ports and this whole EPA or what is that green thing that. I'm not getting political. I don't care anything about both sides. I'm not stating my opinion who I like or who I don't like or anything. Shaggy is not getting political, but I'm telling you, there's a thing on the board right now, if you pay attention, called this green thing that was brought up. And everybody's freaked the hell out. So a lot of the freight that's out there on the market, me and Eric Wilkes are just talking about it the other day, how he's the one that's in our group that has I think his trailers, like, he don't put loads on unless they're like freaking $70,000, $80,000 pounds or more, you know? And, you know, and he's used to bidding loads at 27 and 30,000. And at the end of the day, you know, netting $10,000 to $15,000 profit and stuff like that. Or more, and the market's being killed. One for the flux of new brokers coming in not knowing it, one for the lack of freight because it's not the hottest market on the block right now, and you know, and a lot of different things are in play. I don't understand why people are chopping those rates by half. It's weird because 3 months ago we were getting our ass kicked because of COVID. Now, and I'm sure the rest of them were, and now you got double more. It's double happened.
Yeah, rates being so far apart.
Man, the rates are nuts, man. It's like me and Corey, the one that's popping on here that runs Cap Logistics up in Michigan. Me and him have been partners since forever. You know, he's up there. And whenever you even have relationships and you're used to making 10, 11% or 8, 9, 10, whatever, off a consistent basis off, you know, 7, 6, 7, 800 loads a month, you know, and then you're getting pushed down to 4 or 5 or 6. You know, it's hard because you work so hard to build your rates up with these customers and service them like crazy so they don't have to yell their boss. But then the market changes so much that there isn't nothing you could do, and even they start breaking. You know what I mean? And you start getting your rates by $75, $100. Then you got to go and build it all back again because it's just like with groceries and stuff like that. You know, it's opposite kind of like, or I should say, it's opposite kind of groceries. You ever notice like when the rates go up and truckers make a ton of money, everything else goes up too, right? Everywhere. But then the rates on the trucking side go down, but the rest of the stuff don't. And it's like the opposite in trucking.
For sure.
You know what I mean? But I'm just an amateur. I don't know nothing, and I just train stupid school. No, just kidding. I'm just playing. I don't know nothing. I don't know. That's why I got you and Frank and Corey and all these guys that we went out there and all these other broker people we work with, man. I need to get like Jared with Frostbook on here every now and then, and Josh Rackley and all these other people that we've been working with and helping us stuff and get some more.
Yeah, but hey, we don't just broker. I mean, you surround yourself. Yeah, I mean, we do we've got trucks, we build them, we run them, we dispatch them.
Somebody's busting my chops the other day saying, well, if you're teaching trucking, why don't you have one? Well, I mean, I had one forever. I just shut it down to do all this training because everybody kept blowing my phone up doing training. And they're like, well, why don't you have one? Well, I mean, okay, I'll call Nick and Alex at Cornerstone tomorrow and I'll call Penny and get my MC number going again. And I'll start running ads because I have I'll get the freight from these two guys and I'll stay in the Midwest and I'll do $5,000 to $7,000 a week, keep guys home on weekends and run them through the Midwest. I'll go down the road and get me some trailers because I've been in business and I had the financials to do it. I'll get me some trailers and I'll run an ad and I'll lease on an owner operator and call Nick and Alex up. The owner operator will pay everything and I'll make 20% or 15% or whatever I want off of them and I'll be back at trucking. See, like It'll take me a process of 20, 25, maybe 30 days. It's not a big thing. I'll get a trucking company. It's what are you going to do with it when you got it?
Yeah. Hey, I've got one. I've got one. I've got a brokerage, got a shop. I got all that stuff. But
But you're only
that guy. Let me respond to that guy.
you're only one person though.
Sorry.
You're only one person.
Yeah. You surround yourself with people, the right people, and they will make you successful.
That's amazing.
Some of the most successful people in the world understand that you have to surround yourself with decent, smart, aggressive people. You will be successful if you do that.
You think you'd be successful if you got into business and actually understood and whether you got trained or you went and partnered with a brokerage just to sit in it for a week or whatever, which you're not. But see, that's the problem. Everybody says you don't need training. I see it all the time. And then I'm like,
who doesn't need training?
Like you see it all the time. You can just learn it on YouTube and stuff like that. I'm like, well, then go find a successful brokerage and walk in and see if they'll open up their doors for you for free and let you sit in there and learn how to do it so you actually understand it. No, they won't. Go get a truck company that has 50, 70 trucks and walk in and say, I'd like to be there in 10 years. Can I sit there and watch it with you and help you run your company for a few minutes so I can learn all the mistakes before it happens so I don't lose my one opportunity to take this advantage? And go out there and do that. See if you can do that.
Can't.
So that's why we put this together. We brought in all these people, to help you, to help you learn the whole business. I just don't understand how you can't know all the businesses, whether you're going to do it or not, the liability, the risk, the claims, all this stuff, and what to do before you do it. I just don't get it. Every other company out there, organization, bank, they got to have a financial plan. They have to go to the bank to get the loan. They got to buy the equipment. They got to get the building. They got to set it up. They have to have code inspectors come by and all this stuff. It's the same thing. You don't think these people are here in this industry in these three different types of business? They are. And they just have different names. So you got to tell them we're hitting the road.
Yeah. What do you got, guys? Anything else? Last chance.
Last chance. Because we're already going on it. We're about an hour and a half right now. And thanks, Hank, for the props. We appreciate you guys a lot. We're just trying to help while we're here.
Thank you so much.
We would get more in depth, but the problem is you have to call us on a one-on-one. And we are, like Frank says, we are working on. I'm busy. I don't have time to do it. I work with so many different types of people, but we are trying to figure out some stuff, though, as soon as this COVID stuff gets a little easier and all that crap, about doing some extended hands-on type training that's coming here real soon.
You're welcome, Julie. Thank you for listening.
Hey, thanks. Is it Pratik? I got the Patel part. I know lots of Patels. I'm right by Greenwood, Indiana. Thank you guys for your time. We appreciate it. Well, all right, guys. Appreciate you. Guys, keep sharing. Share the post. Share the page. Join the group. Help everybody out. We're not the only ones that can help. Join our group. Join Shaggy's Consulting and Training. Go into the group. And like Hank, get in there and use your 20 years experience and help somebody. It's funny because you don't help people. But if I told you how many times I help people and found a really kick-ass connection to make money off of that help, or found a network to customers or whatever, just by helping somebody, by opening my mouth and not being so scared, you'd be surprised what happens.
LJ, do a one-on-one.
LJ, you guys, if you can't make it into my January course, you can always go to Shaggy's Express and set up a one-on-one, and we'll all help you that way too. You can go in there and do that. You can set it up. We'll help you. We'll give the same information that you get in a webinar. It's just broken up over more. If you are looking at my webinars, I highly suggest you look at the December 14th webinar, which starts out trucking, compliance, safety, how to hire, how to recruit, how to add owner operators, the wheel, how brokerage, dispatching, carriers, residuals, company drivers, lease purchase, and owner operators all go into a 2 to 10 year plan with trailer leasing involved too. Learn the dispatching, how to talk, how to negotiate, how to call. How many brokers that are out there that don't even know how to talk like a trucking company, but they're trying to talk them in to freaking move their freight because they haven't to take the time to act like one and learn what other people do. You know how much power it is for you to learn how other brokers talk and communicate and how they treat people before that, how they treat carriers, so you understand how you want to build your brokerage too. It's so much power. Like if I had $1 for every every person that wants to be a broker that's never rode in a semi truck and actually went to a shipper or receiver to see what it's like to actually walk through the door, but they're so-called fucking broker, salesperson, and ready to rock and roll. I mean, isn't that trucking? Isn't that understanding what's going on? Is that understanding the process? I mean, how can you be a mechanic if you don't know the motor parts? That's why I put spark plugs in semi trucks. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a mechanic. I never said I was. That's why I call Frank. All right.
You're not a broker, so you could call me for that too.
You could. All right. So
I screwed that up. It says nothing but love is what I meant to say. Love all you guys. Thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it. You know,
that's what life. It is life. Trucking is life. Because
I meant to say love because I mean, like, I love everybody.
Do your last spiel and get off my freaking show. Our show. Just kidding.
Yeah. This is our show. I created Truck Tank.
I know you did. This one's all you. You're just using my platform, brother. It's all good.
No, that's it. That's the spiel. Thank you guys. We appreciate you. If you need anything, we're here to help. We want to help. Give us a call, guys.
Don't forget do what we can. The trucks. You guys got all those trucks that are for sale.
Yeah, trucks. We could build them. If you want to get in the trucking business and you want to, design your vision, call us. We can do it. That's what we do. People love trucks.
You can't just do the trucks. You didn't tell them at all. If you have a guy that's a company guy and he's got some cash saved up and he wants a great truck that he could customize to himself and get it all set up the way he likes it, put the chromies on the side, the bigger shifter, the different kinds of seat, put the motor specs in, change out a transmission. Well, if you want 18 speed, 10 speed, 13 speed, triple shifter, double dipper, whatever you want, you guys.
We love that shit.
I know. You get to watch them do it. Hell, did you know they'll even let you get involved and help build it so you know how to maintain it afterwards? And they won't charge you any extra to come and flip wrenches while you're doing it. And here's the cool part. Then while you're getting your truck, they're going to help you get your authority if you want it, help you get connected with insurance and all the rest of the stuff. And then if you need even more, you could call me and I'll help you grow it. Isn't that weird?
That's weird. I think it's kind of reversed, though. I think you help them get the authority, and I help them grow it.
No, but see, you're there talking to them, so you can send them to our partners, and then we can help them get it going while they're truck built.
Perfect.
Because if you pick the truck and get the truck started, then you're going to need the truck to get the insurance and MC authority. Then it's going to take you probably 21 to 30, 60 days to build the truck, right?
Yeah.
So now you're ready to. So now you're in your waiting period of 21 to 60 days. So now you have your truck. You're paying for it. You're ready to go. You're still working your job because you weren't dumb and quit. So you still have money coming in while you're doing this too. You know what I mean? Except for the time while you're working it in, and then you go active because now you pay your insurance, and then 5 days later, and you have all the process ready to go. It's kind of a dual, really cool program there, Frank.
It really is. It's really cool. It's really it taps into your inner creative, and all that. And
I'm so far.
People are happy.
I'm so in trouble. I got to go. I'm so far.
Bye, guys.
I haven't even called Melissa back, and I still got to finish a one-on-one. I didn't.
Better get out of here.
I know. Got to go.
Bye, guys.
We love you guys. We appreciate it. We're slammed to the gorge. I mean, like I said, we're sold out to December 14th. We got January 4th and January 11th coming up. There's trucking, dispatching, brokering. The classes are filling up fast. You can always hit us up with a one-on-one at shaggysexpress.com. You can schedule an appointment. We love you guys. You guys are great. Keep the vibe. Make money. Freight's going. November 7th's coming up real big. Christmas rush is coming. Winter storms are going to affect. Make sure you have diversity and all multiple different plans. We love you guys. Peace out. Share the group. Join the